Welcome to Top 10 Amazing Facts. Today, we're counting down 10 of the deadliest natural disasters in U.S. history. They came without warning: storms that swallowed cities, fires that turned night into day, and floods that erased entire towns from the map. In moments, these disasters changed history and the lives of millions forever. Some you've heard of, but others have been almost forgotten until now. Stick around, because the number one disaster is still the deadliest America has ever faced. Before we dive in, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss one of our incredible top 10s. Number 10. Hurricane Katrina, 2005. When Katrina formed over the Bahamas in August 2005, it looked like another tropical storm. But as it crossed the Gulf of Mexico's warm waters, it exploded into a Category 5 powerhouse, its massive wind field stretching over 400 miles. It slammed into the Gulf Coast on August 29th, devastating Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. In New Orleans, the real catastrophe came when over 50 levees failed, flooding 80% of the city. Entire neighborhoods like the Lower Ninth Ward were submerged, families trapped on rooftops, and thousands packed into the Louisiana Superdome in sweltering, unsanitary conditions. The storm caused an estimated $125 billion in damage and killed more than 1,300 people, with the final toll, including indirect deaths from illness and displacement, closer to 1,833. Katrina wasn't just a storm, it was a wake-up call about the fragility of infrastructure, the failures of disaster response, and the inequality that shapes who survives and who doesn't. Number 9. Johnstown Flood, 1889. On May 31, 1889, after days of relentless rain, the South Fork Dam above Johnstown, Pennsylvania, failed catastrophically. 20 million tons of water, enough to fill 62 billion bathtubs, surged down the narrow valley at 40 miles per hour. The waves swallowed the town, flattening houses, crushing factories, and tossing locomotives like toys. Nearly 2,200 people died in just minutes. The disaster was worsened by the negligence of an elite hunting club that owned the dam and ignored warnings about its poor condition. It became one of the first major relief operations led by Clara Barton and the American Red Cross, and a grim lesson about the deadly cost when private profit comes before public safety. Number 8. Okeechobee Hurricane, 1928. This Category 4 hurricane made landfall in Palm Beach County on September 16, 1928, with 145 miles per hour winds. The coastal destruction was bad enough, but inland, along the southern shores of Lake Okeechobee, tragedy struck on a massive scale. Heavy rains swelled the lake, and its small earthen dikes failed, sending a 20-foot wall of water roaring across low-lying farming towns. Entire communities were erased overnight. The official death toll stood at about 2,500, though many believe it was higher. Most of the victims were poor black migrant laborers who were buried in mass graves, their loss barely acknowledged at the time. The catastrophe led to the construction of the Herbert Hoover Dike, a massive flood control structure that still encircles the lake today. Number 7. Peshtigo Fire, 1871. While the Great Chicago Fire dominates history books, the Peshtigo Fire, burning the very same night, was far deadlier. In the logging towns of northeastern Wisconsin and parts of Michigan's Upper Peninsula, dry conditions and high winds turned small brush fires into an unstoppable firestorm. Flames moved so fast that survivors described the sky turning into a tornado of fire, temperatures climbing to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to turn sand into glass. Between 15 and 2,500 people died in a matter of hours. Some survived only by submerging themselves in rivers or wells. This remains the deadliest wildfire in U.S. history, yet most Americans have never heard of it. Number 6. Hurricane Maria, 2017. When Hurricane Maria struck Puerto Rico on September 20, 2017, it arrived as a high-end Category 4 storm with 155 miles per hour winds. It ripped apart homes, shredded power lines, and flattened entire neighborhoods. The storm knocked out 100% of the island's power grid. Some areas remained without electricity for nearly a year. Hospitals couldn't operate, clean water was scarce, and roads were impassable. While the official death toll was initially reported as 64, later studies estimated nearly 3,000 deaths, many from the slow collapse of healthcare and infrastructure. Maria was more than a natural disaster. It became a humanitarian crisis that exposed the fragility of colonial governance and the deep inequalities in disaster relief for U.S. territories. Number 5. San Francisco Earthquake, 1906. On April 18, 1906, a magnitude 7.9 earthquake struck San Francisco. The shaking lasted less than a minute, but it ruptured gas mains and water lines, sparking fires that burned uncontrolled for 4 days. The destruction leveled 80% of the city, leaving 225,000 people homeless. Around 3,000 lives were lost, many to the flames rather than the quake itself. The disaster reshaped San Francisco, spurred the development of modern earthquake science, and inspired stricter building codes, though the city would face seismic threats again in the decades to come. Number 4. San Ciriaco Hurricane, 1899. The San Ciriaco hurricane is the longest-lived Atlantic hurricane on record, battering the Caribbean for nearly a month. When it struck Puerto Rico on August 8, 1899, its 140 miles per hour winds and torrential rains caused unprecedented destruction. Floodwaters wiped out entire villages, destroyed crops, and left 250,000 people homeless. The official death toll reached 3,855, with famine and disease claiming many more lives in the months that followed. Puerto Rico had just become a U.S. territory the year before, and the slow, inadequate response revealed how unprepared the new administration was to protect the island in times of crisis. Number 3. Great Flood of 1862. It rained for 43 days straight across the western United States during the winter of 1861 to 62. Rivers swelled beyond their banks, and in California, the Sacramento and San Joaquin valleys became an inland sea up to 30 miles wide. Sacramento, then the state capital, was so deeply flooded that the legislature temporarily moved to San Francisco. Across the West, more than 4,000 people died, and 1/3 of California's taxable property was destroyed. The disaster reshaped state policy on flood control, leading to the levees and dams that protect California's farmlands and cities today. Number 2. North American Heat Wave, 1936. In the heart of the Dust Bowl, the summer of 1936 brought record-shattering heat to the U.S. and Canada. Temperatures hit 121 degrees Fahrenheit in North Dakota, with soil temperatures in parts of the plains reaching a blistering 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Crops withered, livestock died in the fields, and the heat claimed around 5,000 lives, mostly from heat stroke and dehydration. Cities opened cooling centers, but for many rural families without electricity, relief was impossible. This remains one of the deadliest heat waves in North American history, a stark reminder that extreme heat can kill as swiftly as storms or floods. Number 1. Great Galveston Hurricane, 1900. On September 8, 1900, Galveston, Texas, was a thriving port city, but also low-lying and vulnerable. A Category 4 hurricane with sustained winds of 140 miles per hour and a storm surge over 15 feet slammed into the island without the benefit of modern forecasts. By nightfall, much of the city was gone. Entire families were swept out to sea. Between 8,000 to 12,000 people died, making it the deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history. In the aftermath, Galveston built a massive seawall and elevated large parts of the city, but it never regained its status as a major port. The hurricane's legacy is one of both devastation and resilience. These disasters are more than history, they're warnings. Each one reshaped cities, changed laws, and tested the limits of human endurance. Which one shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments, and share this video to keep these stories alive. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the moments that changed America forever. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.